Hello and welcome to my 5-minute HIROMI HIGURUMA Melancholic Attorney deck breakdown. This card is a proxy alt-art version of Aminato Veil Piercer that I made using Card Conjurer. For folks that haven't watched the anime Jujutsu Kaisen, this is HIROMI HIGURUMA. HIROMI is a defense attorney whose curse technique manifested after seeing an innocent victim being sentenced to life by a corrupt judge and prosecution. Imagine if Atticus Finch from To Kill a Mockingbird became a stand user. HIROMI's curse technique is a titular Judge Man, a blind spirit that holds up a scale who commences the start of HIROMI's domain expansion. When Judge Man manifests, both HIROMI and the target are sucked into a domain resembling a Japanese courtroom. In this domain, a trial begins, with HIROMI accusing the target of a crime they had committed. The target is then allowed to defend their case by remaining silent, confessing to the crime, or denying the claim. After the defense have made their statements, HIROMI as the prosecution is allowed to review the evidence submitted by Judge Man and object to the target's statements. The Shikigami Judge Man eventually delivers the final verdict. If the target is deemed guilty, then Judge Man is allowed to dole out a punishment befitting the crime and evidence. One common sentence commonly handled by Judge Man is confiscation, where the spirit can take the target's curse techniques. If the verdict is a death penalty along with confiscation, HIROMI's curse tool gavel transforms into an executioner sword, allowing him to one-shot the powerless defendant. In order to capture the full power of HIROMI HIGURUMA, we need to reenact his domain expansion Deadly Sentencing. We need cards that can capture evidence of potential crimes on the board. We need cards that deal with the three options given to the defense: deny, confess, or silence. We need cards that will enact a guilty verdict, giving Judge Man the ability to confiscate an opponent's powerhouses. Finally, we need to represent HIROMI's curse tool, the transforming gavel, which should allow him to end the opponent on a guilty verdict. Before we move ahead, if you're enjoying the video so far, please like and subscribe. The card that best captures the melancholic lawyer HIROMI himself would be Aminato Veil Piercer. Aminato is a 4-mana Esper commander with the ability, at the beginning of your upkeep, survey 2. Each enchantment in your hand has Miracle. Its Miracle cost is equal to its mana cost reduced by 4. The library in Magic the Gathering represents a person's mind, and the act of top decking a massive enchantment card, in my humble opinion, resembles the objection that you hear in a chaotic back and forth court case. Miracle allows us to play the first card we draw each turn for basically free, and cast them at instant speed. Our goal with this deck is to set up a way to draw a card on every single turn in this commander game. But what exactly are these enchantments that we're trying to discount in this deck? Introducing Judge Man's Guilty Punishment, Confiscation. These enchantments all have a converted mana cost over 6 and allow us to take control of a problematic creature permanently. Our deck's eventual end goal is to set up a game state where we permanently control our opponent's commanders, usually the creatures that they have based their entire game plan around. So we have the end goal in place. How do we support this goal? How do we protect ourselves? And how do we interact with my opponents? During Deadly Sentencing, Judge Man provides HIROMI with evidence that you can use to prosecute the defendant. In Magic the Gathering, we'll be using the Investigate mechanic to provide us with clues. For people unaware, clues are artifact tokens that allow you to sacrifice a clue and draw a card. These can be played on my opponent's turn, which would allow us to use HIROMI's Miracle effect every single turn. Plus, we have picked Investigate cards that generate clues from crimes committed. Events like an opponent killing one of our creatures on the battlefield, milling creatures from my deck, or having more cards in hand than me. A typical game of Bracket 2 Commander is a knuckle-dragging brawl, and we are counting on our opponents having more removal spells than common sense. We built our deck to synergize with clues generated. Leonin Elder gives us life gain on every clue that is created. Tamio's Journal is a legendary artifact that lets us tutor for anything as long as we have enough clues. Piper Wright Public Reporter lets us pump our creatures with every clue generated. Heck, Armed with Proof lets us turn our evidence into a weapon that we can whack our opponents with. In the early game, we won't have the mana dorks in place to allow us to cast Confiscation on our opponents every turn. While we try to set up our board, what are the ways we can protect ourselves from board threats? I approach this with 3 different methods of stopping aggression, broken down into confession, silence, and denial. This is a direct reference to how HIROMI's targets have to defend themselves from Judge Man in his domain. Michiko Kanda, Truthseeker, is a 4-mana human advisor which reads, whenever a source an opponent controlled deals damage to you, that player sacrifices a permanent. She exemplifies what I wanted to capture with the confession category. The cards in the confession category are all ways to immediately punish my opponent from trying to hit me in the face. Along with Michiko's instant non-targeting sacrifice, Norn's Decree is a mono-white enchantment where when one of creatures from an opponent attacks me, that opponent gets a poison counter. Norn's Decree is great because it only poisons the attacker, getting them 1/10 of the way towards losing the game. It also incentivizes other players to attack them, as it gives them card draw when attacking the criminal. How about Argent Dais, an artifact which generates oil counters whenever creatures attack anyone, which we can then remove in order to exile problematic board threats? Need ways to generate oil counters for Dais? Patrolling Peacemaker from Edge of Eternities proliferates when any opponent commits a crime. We're not using Counterspell, too derivative. Instead, I search for all counters counterspells in Magic the Gathering that have something to do with denial. Deny entry, deny existence, deny the divine, deny the witch. These spells can counter most big board wipes, large game-breaking enchantments, or powerful creature abilities. We pay a premium to exile the card being countered as well. Stop my opponents from playing anything. During the trial, we want to be able to eliminate pesky tokens, clear the board, bounce attackers, or sacrifice your strongest guy. But the trial is over and our defendant is guilty. So guilty, in fact, that along with confiscating their commander, Judgman permits Hiromi to end the opponent. Gavel of the Righteous is a 2-mana equipment where at the beginning of combat on your turn, put a charge counter on this equipment. Equipped creatures get +1/+1 for each counter on this equipment. As long as this equipment has 4 or more counters on it, equipped creature has double strike. I was so happy when I found this card searching Scryfall. This card is a perfect representation of Hiromi's Curse tool. We can play it early, protect it with counterspells, proliferate it with Patrolling Peacemaker, equip it for cheap, and it gives Hiromi a million attack and double strike. Go, Executioner Blade! Enact courtroom justice! So, do you think this deck captured the essence of Hiromi? Are there any cards you think would be better suited to make this deck work more effectively? Let me know. Also, thank you for watching this video. What should the next Jujutsu Kaisen character be that I cover? Let me know in the comments. Stay tuned, more to come.